It's as simple as, are you feeling good around this person or are you feeling toxic negativity? Because how you're feeling is the ripple effect that's going through your mind and your body. And that is setting the stage for either health or illness and disease.
Absolutely. I was in a toxic relationship for how long with a back issue that wouldn't clear, and miraculously, like, it ended and overnight it's gone when no specialist could touch it of any type. Like, you see how much this affects our body and our psyche. Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics, raw, real, relatable podcast. We're your hosts, Susan Robbins, certified epigenetic human performance coach,
And Kate King, licensed psychotherapist, board-certified art therapist, and award-winning author. Together, we bring two perspectives, two styles, and one shared passion for epigenetics.
On this podcast, we delve into topics such as environment, nutrition, fitness, mindset, social dynamics, and trauma as they pertain to epigenetic expression in a way that's relatable to everyone.
We recognize that everyone's needs are unique. There are no one-size-fits-all solutions for your mind, body, and heart. The true magic lies within you.
So if you're ready to create a radiant life through epigenetics and reclaim your authentic self, then buckle up. Here we go. Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics, raw, real, relatable podcast. We are your hosts. I am Susan Robbins, and I am here with the lovely
Kate King. And today we're going to talk to you about friendship. This is such a hot topic, especially as there's so much buzz these days about relationships of all kinds. I think people are becoming a lot more conscious and aware of the types of people they have in their life. And especially post-pandemic, there's so much research, especially from the most recent Surgeon General was talking about how loneliness is an epidemic. And so we have a lot more awareness now about how connection and community are really important. And we also have a lot of awareness these days about how unhealthy or toxic dynamics can exist in every type of friendship, every type of professional setting, families, spousal partnerships, everywhere. So today we're going to give you a deep dive into friendship, and we're going to tie it back into epigenetics so that you understand how your connections can really impact your lifestyle and your health in a mental way, a physical way, and on all
how your genes express.
how your genes express. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tie into it also some of the different health types and how friendships may be different or how they perceive friendships, attachments, things like that. So I'll bring that into it. But when Kate said this morning, we should do one on friendship. And I said, how funny, because I just did one of my rants on the run, which are just little the stories or reels on things that are bugging me or that are positive, anything that's on my mind. Sometimes I get hits when I'm out doing things, when I'm active. That's when they pop in my mind.
Mhm.
And I just did one last week on connection and social connection and the lack thereof, how it's become. And it was all around friendships. So it was really funny timing wise, but I said, I run into this with my quote friendships. Maybe we all have this badge of being busy and you wear it with honor. I am so busy. I don't have time to do this. The people make time for the people and the things that matter to them. It really is as simple as that. You create that time when it's something that's important to you. And so maybe this will help you look at some relationships you have, some friendships you have. Are they the type that feed your soul or do they bring you more angst? How are you contributing? I noticed that with people being so busy, I get it. And some of us, we don't live very close to each other. Sometimes we do. But people are even afraid to pick up the phone and call someone now. I don't want to bug them. But back in the day, you didn't have texting. You actually picked up the phone when you wanted to talk to somebody. Now it's like you have to text first because you don't want to bug someone. But why do we not take that chance to just reach out? Like the old AT&T commercial, reach out and touch someone, right? Just
Yeah.
say, hey. And so personally, I'll hear, gosh, I miss you. I love you. Like, we need to get together. And I'll go, great. When do you want to do it? because I'm action oriented as an activator and I'm on the connector cusp. I want the connection. Like it means something to me, not with, I don't go out of my way if it's somebody or something that just isn't a priority for me. But for those that are, when? And let me check my schedule. Okay, let's look. I'll get back to you. And then it's like you get ghosted.
Mhm.
And
People get
we
busy.
understand the ghosting with dating, but with friendships, it's happening too. And what is it? Is it
Well,
maybe
I
it's
think
just not a one that's valued?
it's less sometimes it is that people are busy because I think life is crazy and people are
Mhm.
overscheduled. Also, and I know this from my personal experience, sometimes feeling busy can be used as an excuse to not get together with people who don't nourish you, but you don't know how to get out of
Amen.
relationships.
Amen.
I remember when the pandemic hit and everyone was in chaos, and I was in chaos too because I was part of the universe that we were all part of fear. But also, I remember feeling relief that I didn't have to see people for a while because
Mhm.
I had become so overscheduled with so many friends that weren't in good alignment with me, and I had coffee date with this one, a walk and talk with that one, a dinner with this one, and I would come home feeling exhausted, and my baseline of energy was just getting further and further depleted because I had built
Yeah.
work of people who, frankly, as a therapist, sometimes I can attract friends who actually need therapists, and that's on me, right? That's how I show up because sometimes I'm not as intentional with friends to give as and to take in a good flow. And so I end up giving a lot and I end up not sharing a lot and not asking a lot of my friendships. And then months or years down the line, I have these one sided friendships and I'm like, where's the reciprocity? This person is nowhere near the quality of friend to me that I am to them. And so, anyway, around the pandemic, I had built so many of those that it was actually a relief to clear my calendar and say, "Sorry, I can't leave the house." So, I
Yeah.
think that's a big warning sign, but it's also for you listeners who are like, "I'm not as busy as I say. Sometimes I just wanna stay home and read a book or hang out with my family, and I don't wanna see certain friends." So, I think it's
Yeah.
important to talk about this little balancing act of having connection in your life that does feel really nourishing and really generative and reciprocal. Let's talk more about that. But also not having people in your life who take more than they give, who drain you, who you walk
Agree.
away feeling terrible or really activated in like an anxious way when you leave them. So maybe can we just start with talking about reciprocity because I think everybody knows what that means, but maybe we can drill into it a little more.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that it's important to talk about is honest communication.
Mhm.
I've heard this with other friends recently that come to me asking advice like, this person's not treating me great. I don't like it. Okay. Well, have you had a conversation? I'm walking on eggshells. Okay. But you shouldn't have to be walking on eggshells. And I think so it's important that we touch on that when we get to that point as well, to really talk about honest communication within your friendships that are not blaming or finger pointing or anything, but very healthy communication at where you are, what you expect in a relationship, what you're getting, what you're not getting, anything like that.
So, reciprocity, basically, at its most fundamental definition, is when something flows both ways in equal amounts. And in friendship, this can mean not always 50-50. It doesn't mean when I have an hour or two conversation with my best friend every single week on Thursdays. This is a standing thing we've done for over 20 years. It doesn't mean that I talk for 10 minutes, she talks for 10 minutes, I talk for 10 minutes. It doesn't go like that. It's a conscious understanding that we are both there to give and take. And sometimes she needs more support. And so we end up spending a lot of time supporting her. Other times I ask for some space. And there's this awareness that no one is taking up too much space. But if you do feel the need, sometimes we'll even ask permission and we'll say, "Hey, I've got something going on. Do you mind if I take up a little bit of space today?" So that we're asking for consent essentially within the friendship so that there's this conscious understanding of that reciprocity. Now, other friendships, they don't ask for that consent, they just plow forward. I don't know if you've ever had a friend who you pick up the phone
Yep.
before you can even say, "Hi," they're just dumping their day on you. This is the type of friend some friendships work really well like that because they interrupt each other and it ends up just giving everyone
Two activators.
but I'm an activator and I do
Yeah.
not behave that way. So, like, oftentimes for
You have a different you have a different
a different
mindset
mind.
from what you do,
Yeah.
but 2 true activators that's how we communicate. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
You're
But
just a
I
different space.
with different health types, also with different people on the introvert and extrovert spectrum and different personality types, there are a lot of people like me who will wait to be asked. So if someone doesn't say, "Hey, Kate, how's it going?" or "I know you've been dealing with this thing lately. How is that?" I may not
Yeah.
volunteer to share it because I sometimes default to the belief of if they wanted to know, they would ask. And so if they're not
Right,
asking,
right.
I don't want to know. And so I think that it's just important to know that there are all these different types of people who show up for friendship in all these different types of ways. And to go with your comment on honest communication, I think that's integrity in the friendship is to be able.
Mhm.
You and I had this conversation at the beginning of our friendship where I said, I like to be asked and I'm really uncomfortable with interrupting. And so you and I have really worked in our friendship to be able to have what honors both of our communication styles. And what I like to tell people is that it just involves three things to have honest communication. You have to be honest, you have to share what's really going on, have a respect for each other. And that's where it comes into you don't have to be a jerk about it. You don't have to be
Yeah.
demeaning or accuse them of being a bad friend. Respectful and honest. And third, kind. So if you're stating a need or a boundary and you have honesty, respect, and kindness at the core of it, that is your best chance for that to be well received by your friend and for them to say, "Oh, this isn't personal about me. This isn't an attack. This is actually just an alive, creative being, really, that the friendship is. It's an entity of its own. And by treating it with honesty and respect and kindness, you give it the best chance to bloom."
Yeah. Why do we have to get mean or snarky? You don't. I have a friend and she doesn't listen to this podcast. I don't worry. But she's in a situation that's not ideal and it concerns me. I don't mean it concerns me, it concerns me about her. And I'm just the type I want to help. I want to be there for my friend. And so I'm always trying to think of ideas to help. And I the one day brought some up to her and she just went off and had said like, "Why do you ask me the same questions? I'm in this situation and I'm choosing to be here." And I said, "Okay, I'm just coming from a place of I love you and I care about you and I worry about you." But it was by the end of that call, I was so attacked that it was just an awful feeling. And but again, there's where I wanna maintain that communication had said, "I you just totally attacked me." And it was for I was trying to come from a good place saying, "Hey, have you thought about this?" And that's how I'd actually posed it. And we're just the thing I think we also have to remember is we're all in different places and we all perceive things differently. And we can't expect how someone's going to react. And sometimes the way they react may throw us off. Now, when it becomes something that's a regular type of thing, that someone may be very reactive all the time, and maybe they don't have good EQ, they don't have good emotional intelligence, they don't know how to have healthy communication with other human beings. And you may have to realize that is this something that I wanna keep putting myself out there to deal with, right? Is this the type of friendship that I want? Is this what friendship means to me? And it may be, and if it is, great. But if it's not, then you can't attack another person for them not being who you want them to be. We have to in a friendship, that's the beauty of a friendship. We all have our we all have our strengths and our weaknesses in different areas. And when we can understand that and accept that in other people, like you said, you and I, when we first started, I'm the bull in the china shop, you're the china. And at first, like we had, because I'm answering you quickly, because I'm thinking it's great when I'm taking that time to just shoot a text message back, right? Nothing I've heard before. And you're like, ah, that kind of triggered me or something. And I'm like, I didn't mean to trigger you with that. That wasn't where I was coming from. But you were at least open and honest enough with me to go there. And then there have been times I've said things and told you how I felt. And we have that really good synergy because we're open to not judging the other person, but saying, hey, this is how I took that. And
Did you mean
was
it
I
that way?
correct here or not? Right.
Asking for clarification because so often, like, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that feels so aggressive." And you're like, "Oh my god, it's not aggressive. You're like, "Don't talk to me during my workday because I'm just shooting out texts super quick." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you for clarifying that to me," because I'm like, "Holy cow, that came through with a lot of energy." So just a couple of those little tweaks, and suddenly we were on the same frequency. And the other
Yeah.
thing too,
Yeah.
that I think sometimes this is a misunderstanding with people that they think that their spousal relationship is the only relationship that requires work and that like their friendships should just be these easy breezy natural things like how
Yeah.
in childhood for many of us. But I have a 9-year-old daughter and friendship isn't easy for her either. Girls and even this happens
Oh,
in boy relationships too, but she's got like her little girl drama. And so we talk about how friendship is something that needs to be really nurtured and really treated with kindness and with awareness. And so a lot of people will come to me in sessions and they'll be like, I don't know how much I'm supposed to work on these friendships or invest in them. Isn't friendship supposed to be like the light and easy part of my life? And my response is, yeah, maybe for your acquaintances, for your vast majority of neighbors and colleagues, but for your core people, whether it's your spouse, your family members, or your friends, that takes intention. It takes honesty. You have to show up for it. And it's okay if there's moments where it feels like you're sort of disassembling the friendship so you can rebuild it in a new way. It's also
hmm
okay if you have arguments. You don't have to see eye to eye on everything. You just have to be able to hold space for the friendship to be able to expand and contract within a container that can hold a little bit of movement because people
yeah.
going to be exactly what you need all the time, whether they're your spouse or your friend or your
No,
sister.
that's why we have groups. We have other people. No
Yeah.
one person can fulfill every connection need you have. I don't see that because we're also very different.
And we need different
And
kinds of friends. I
absolutely.
think I really Robin Dunbar's example of this. He uses concentric circles. I talk about this in my books. Like the innermost circle is there's only space in there for 3 to 5 people. And so maybe that includes your spouse, maybe it includes a parent or a couple of very, very best friends, but those are your core people. And then out from there, there's another 2 or 3 more concentric circles. Each have more people, but each gets less intense, less meaningful, and maybe a little bit more laissez-faire. I think it's really important that we recognize not all friendship is created equally, but when it comes to that core 3 to 5 people, you can be really picky with who's in there, and you can be really
Absolutely.
and sometimes
Circle of trust.
yeah, and sometimes, honestly, just like with romantic relationships, there's a need for friends to break up. There's a need for
Mhm.
relationships to end. Sometimes they can just pause. I've had friendships that have paused for several years, and then we return to each other and it feels good
Yeah.
again. And I've
Yeah.
had
It's
other
like there
friendships.
was no separation. That's
Right? Or there
the
was some
amazing thing.
separation that we both needed, and then we came
Yeah.
different season and it worked better. And I've also had some friendships that have ended and they've really needed to because they
Mhm.
were clearing out something that was no longer aligned for us and was actually adding toxic energy, which is how
Yeah.
this contributes to epigenetics. So when you're in friendships and they contribute to oxytocin production, prolactin production, even dopamine and serotonin get produced when we're in
Which is good, people, just so you know, these are all
yeah,
things these are hormones that are good, right? This is good,
good, healthy
positive, nurturing, love.
yeah. Neuromodulators and hormones that move through your body and make you feel good. So that's what happens in a healthy friendship and healthy relationship. But in an unhealthy relationship, you're pumping more of the stress hormones through your body,
Yeah.
cortisol, maybe even adrenaline. And then
Oh,
it
yeah.
create huge inflammation in your body. It can actually deteriorate your health as well as your mental health. It can contribute to depression and anxiety, which can then have a cascade that makes your body unwell. So that is how the epigenetic expression is really affected by who you're friends with. It's as simple as are you feeling good around this person or are you feeling toxic negativity because how you're feeling is the ripple effect that's going through your mind and your body. And that is setting the stage for either health or illness and disease.
Absolutely. I was in a toxic relationship for how long with a back issue that wouldn't clear, and miraculously, like, it ended, and overnight, it's gone when no specialist could touch it of any type. Like, you see how much this affects our body and our psyche. And then again, if we look at it within the different health types, you're going to have some, especially connectors, guardians, your activators up towards connectors, tend to be more people oriented, and they tend to need more connection. Some of them, your connectors are like the more the merrier type people, and they really thrive on, let's go to this big event. Let's have this party. Let's make sure everybody we can think of under the sun is invited because that'll be more fun. And then you have your guardians where their predominant hormone is prolactin. It's very nurturing. They'll tend to have their circle. They take care of everybody, but their tight circle, their family, hugely important to them, and then some really close friends. And then your diplomats up towards the guardian, they'll tend to be that way. And then you start getting into the more autonomous ones, right? So they might have a difference in how they view a friendship. Your diplomats on the cusp of sensor and your sensors, again, very autonomous, and they tend to be more monogamous, but they are all, it's more about logic for them, logic and safety. That doesn't come typically from big crowds. It doesn't come from big groups of people that you can't be yourself with. That just creates this feeling of, yeah, I'm not sure I like that. And they get peopled out where your health type's up towards the top of the circle, your connectors, guardians are going to be more energized by people. And down at the bottom, around the sensor, crusader, diplomat on the cusp of sensor, they're not, they get the overload. And I've talked about this on the podcast and with other people before. I had a friend, and he was a crusader on the cusp of sensor, and I met him in a hiking group, and we'd go on these big group hikes and then go to lunch, and then we go back to the cars, and he's, "Yeah, now I gotta go home and close my blinds and turn off everything and lay there in the dark." And he goes, "That's how I have to regenerate." And there's times I won't hear from him for months, months on end. And I just had to, like, this is what I do. He disappears. That doesn't happen with my connector people, like, you hear from them more often. But they're going to have very small circles of friends typically, a tighter knit group that they feel very comfortable with. And so you have to keep this in mind if you do know your health type of your friends, which is super helpful. If you're a people person and you've got someone who's very introverted, which that bottom part of the circle tends to be more introverted, and you're saying, "Come on, let's go to this concert. Let's go to this, let's go dancing, let's go to," and the more introverted person is saying, "Cool, this goes so against what my body is telling me to do. It doesn't feel good, but I wanna be with my friend." And so sometimes may come out of their comfort zone, and if they wanna check out at 9 o'clock, let them, right? Just know that they may wanna leave earlier, they're gonna get peopled out. Don't press them into staying,
Let them
right?
be their true self because you're being your true self. So, part of authentic connection is you show up as you are and you allow people to be as they are too.
Exactly,
That's that
exactly.
kind of Goldilocks sweet spot in between
Yeah.
2 different people is it's not too much of what I want and it's not too much of what you want. It's what works for us as a unit.
Absolutely, and you can say, "Okay, I'll go out with you doing that, but next time, let's just go have dinner ourselves, or let's meet for lunch, or let's just go for a hike together," or whatever it is that the other person likes. When you have, like, really polar opposites like that, someone that doesn't like the big crowds or really wants that intimacy. And another cool example, I have a friend, he's a crusader, but he's very connectory, and he wants to take care of other people, but he likes the more the merrier. I have gotten to where I like a little more of an intimate crowd. I like deeper conversations. I want to get to know people and not just be the surface of, "Hey, how you doing?" And we had a very small, tight knit group of a game night people. Well, then it started growing. And then the table was so big, you'd have to have 2 tables on a holiday, and now I don't get to talk to the people that I really wanted to talk to because there's too many people. So I went to him and said, "Can we just go back to our regular group for some game nights? Do we have to have everybody?" And he was receptive to it. He just don't want anybody to feel left out. And I get that. So why don't we have times where you can invite everybody, but other times where we have our more intimate circle where we know each other better. And so again, when you can I wanted to feed that connectory part of him, but I had to also feed myself. And so when you can understand, listen to where the other person's coming from and approach it from, again, a very loving side and not like, "Are you kidding me?" You're gonna get so much more out of that relationship, to be honest, and just be genuinely who you are. That's where you see you brought up acquaintance, right? There's a difference, if you wanna talk on that, there's a difference between acquaintances and true friends. People say, "I just met someone the other day. This is my friend." Yeah, are they really a friend? We just call them friends, but in the true sense of friend, you don't know them.
Actually, I have a really cool three-part kind of identification for different types of friends that I write about in my book, and at this moment, I can't remember if it's in my book Radiant Life or it's in my new book coming up, so stay tuned. But so
Read up, and then you'll find out. There you go.
read them all. So there are friends of utility, friends of pleasure, and friends of purpose. And so friendships of utility are like people who you go to concerts with. It could be the friendship you have with the waitress at your favorite restaurant. It could be a neighborly friendship. They function for you in a certain way, and it doesn't require a lot from you. It doesn't have to be deep. It's functional and it has a utility
Mhm.
purpose. Like I have a lot of mom friends who are not really deep close to my heart, but they carpool my kid and we see each other at the soccer field and it's very friendly and lovely. We don't expect it to be more. So that's a friendship of utility. A friendship of
Mm.
pleasure is, again, it doesn't have to be very deep, but it's something where you basically get each other's neurotransmitters and hormones flowing. Like it feels good to be together.
Feels good.
Might be like your Sunday night football friends. These might be your party friends. These might be the people you go out with after work and you unwind with. And so it has a very specific function. And then the friendships of purpose are the meaningful, deep people from that inner circle that I mentioned before. And this
Mhm.
is the type of friendship that requires a lot of consciousness, a lot of conversations, a lot of work, because these are the people you grow with and potentially have a chance to continue through different seasons of life with. And because they are in that role, they take more time, they take more energy, and they should give back. It should fill you.
Absolutely.
So if you have friendships of meaning or purpose who don't fill you up, then I think that you should look at whether that friend would be better in the utility or purpose bucket. Or if you have a friendship of utility, like a mom friend from a soccer field, and you're like, I want more. I like this person. People can jump buckets. So a friendship
Sure.
of utility can become a friendship of purpose. You just have to invest in it a little bit more. And so it's really fun. It's almost chess pieces that you can move around a chessboard. People don't have to stay in the circles they're in, and really they can't because we all change so much through life. So if you're constantly tracking what your needs are and what the different connections are offering, then you can move them around. And I see two sides of the same coin are on one side is needs and on the other side is boundaries. And so my 12-year-old says, "Mom, you get so therapeutical when you talk about therapy." So his new favorite made up term is therapeutical. So I'm gonna just
Therapeutical.
like a tinge therapeutical on you, and I'm going to talk about boundaries for a second. So this needs and boundaries dynamic is really important for protecting that genetic expression and helping it evolve in a healthy way. So
Mhm.
you want to be able to express your needs with honesty, and you also want to be able to express your boundaries with honesty. So if you have a friend who's really a friend of utility and they're taking up too much space in your life, they want to get coffee, they want to go out for drinks, and you're like, no, you belong on the soccer field. There is a way with kindness, respect, and honesty. Remember those three aspects I mentioned before that are so important for healthy communication, where you can say to that person what your boundary is. You can say, you know what, I don't really have the space to go out for coffee, but I so enjoy hanging out with you here at the soccer field. Or maybe there's someone who's a deep, meaningful friend. They're not giving you enough time and connection. And so there might be a need to express your needs there and say, hey, you're one of my core people. You're really important to me and I need more contact. Is that possible? How can we make that?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
somewhere between boundaries and needs, and the expression of both, and also your ability to hear the expression of both from the people you're connected to, that's where amazing, beautiful friendships can be created.
Agree. Agree 100%. And I love the separation of the 3 because I can immediately think of people. My hiking group is my feel-good people, right?
Mhm.
And then it's again, you have the very small circle of people that you consciously make an effort for. And I think, like I said in my rant, those are the people we actually do need to make that effort for. And so if you're someone out there that you've gotten so busy that even part of your core circle has gone to the side, I'm gonna put a little challenge out there, and I did this on my rant, was reach out to someone. Reach out to one person in your circle today, regardless of which circle it is, but someone that matters to you that maybe you've neglected. They're typically probably gonna be in the 2nd or 3rd circle, but could be somebody from the 1st that you're like, "I like their energy, and I've only met them a few times, but they have this purpose with me, and I like to let them know." Reach out to one, at least one person that matters to you and tell them and just say, "Hey." Now, if it's someone with whom you actually have a relationship and maybe, like I said, it's been off to the wayside or something due to whatever reasons, why don't you reach out and say, "Hey, let's make time for a call," or "Let's hop on FaceTime. Let's actually see each other." Or best case scenario, let's get together. Let's go share a meal, go for a walk, whatever it is. What's the worst outcome of that situation? They're gonna tell you again they don't have time, or maybe you're gonna find out that you aren't the priority to them that they are to you. Or best case scenario, they're gonna be like, "Hell yeah. Thank you so much for reaching out. I'm sorry. I've been so lax on my end." And that's just a win-win situation. Any way you look at it, it's a win. Even if it might end up being a loss, that's still a win because there's gonna be someone else that'll fill that space that may be more aligned with you. But I'm
And
gonna
you
put
wanna know, if you're not somebody's priority, if you're not important to them, it's better for you to know that and not hide from that.
absolutely.
And honestly, Susan,
Like,
we talked about this with Mark and Jill Addy in one of our recent episodes.
you
So
did.
they talked a lot about connection, and Mark talked about exactly what you're speaking to now. Like, it can happen in increments. You go from a text to a phone call, and then from a phone call to an in person. And it's how we slowly reopen ourselves up to connection in a world that feels
Mhm.
increasingly isolating.
I did this was several years ago, I did a manifestation challenge, and the one day was pick 3 people that made a difference to you and text them or call them and tell them that.
Oh, I love it.
Is this so that could be another it could be a way you could use the challenge too.
Mhm.
But I
Or
did
just
it for 5.
gratitude, expressing
Yeah, and
gratitude to
it was
people.
like, "Hey, just wanted to let you know," and I remember messages I sent out, it was like, "I'm just so grateful to have you in my life," or "Thank you for you having brought this to my life," or whatever, and some of the responses were like, "Wow, thank you so much, you made my day," and when we give and finally finished my Change Your Mind book, the one that was Christian based, but he was saying, "When we give without feeling the need to receive, it literally changes genetic expression. When we give without expectation, just to give and make someone else feel good, just sending that text out, like, I didn't expect to get anything back. Some of these 2 of these were people I hadn't talked to in a couple of years, and just shoot that out there, but to know that, wow, I actually made a difference to someone today. It fills you up like nothing else. So what if you do that for someone that you really love,
Yeah,
that you really care about, or that maybe she fills your freaking Starbucks cup every day? You're like, "Thank you for not messing my name up, for making sure that my order is right every day. I appreciate you."
yeah,
You lift people in different ways, and that will in turn lift you, and that's gonna change your genetic expression in a positive way. So even on a day where you feel down in the dumps, reach out, look for that with someone else, and see how that might affect you by
yes,
doing that.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think that was a really good conversation on friendship, and I hope if there's
Agree.
anything that you missed that you want us to speak to, feel free to be in touch with us. We can go a little deeper into any of those topics. And let's do our closing question today, Susan, so that people can know where you and I both are on our process of walking this path that we teach all of our listeners, how we cultivate our own radiant life through epigenetics. So, what are you doing today? Susan Robbins, my friend, in your life, what are you doing to cultivate your radiant life through epigenetics?
So I had a much more stressful morning than I had intended. It's all worked out great now, but it was a very stressful start to my morning. When we started this podcast, I was like, I can't think straight. Bear with me. Like we've had to pause this a few times.
Mhm.
So I know that that stress is going to actually from this morning. If I don't take some downtime or do something to work with what I need, is actually going to affect my sleep tonight.
Yeah.
I have to balance it. So I know as an activator, I need movement. So I will be going to the gym. And I'm also going to set some time aside to do my breath work and some meditation before I go to my concert tonight, which will feed my soul with live music, one of my favorite bands, and free ticket to thank you. Like the blessings are coming in. So I'm just going to feed my soul in every way today, which will counteract that stressful period that likely drove up my like my blood sugar, all the negative things that that good hour and a half did in there to just turn that around. So that's
Beautiful.
what I'm doing. And what about you, Miss Kate King? What are you going to do today to cultivate radiant life through epigenetics?
I've already done my meditation that I've been really sticking with doing every single day. It's a heart-based brain heart coherence meditation that really I feel actually does change me from the inside out. So I've already done that. And I'm in a period of time right now where the kids go back to school this week. My daughter's first day was today. My surgery is next week. I had a book fair last week, a family reunion next week. It's just too full. And I do not like that much space or that much, like,
That
craziness
was crazy. Yeah.
for space. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually taking some space. I'm gonna go to the family reunion a day late, and I'm gonna take a day for
Perfect.
myself. I am canceling some things on my calendar that are not of the utmost importance, and I'm gonna be really intentional. I'm not gonna doom scroll with that time or make myself busy with admin tasks. I'm gonna maybe pick up a book or go for a walk or call someone who really gets me and helps me feel supported. So I'm just being very intentional right now because I don't like the way it feels when that engine inside of me starts to rev and things feel too full. So that's what I'm doing.
It's funny. We just in different ways. We both picked up on the same rev. Going, I don't like this.
I don't. Yep. I know I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
'Cause we
started the day with
experience it
meditation.
differently. I think
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
we're both activators, but you perceive things you're much more high energy than I am, and I think that I pick up things in a way where I just wanna shut down and where sometimes you'll more lean in, and
Yeah.
so I think it's interesting the way that we're the same, but we're different, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. But the
genetics,
awareness,
yeah,
I think the awareness is such a key that we're both so aware. You're like, I need to take that time away. I need to do this. And again, I pick up on the same things. There's times it's a weekend and I used to never be caught at home on a weekend. God forbid. Now I go, Friday night, I am staying home. I'll turn on my Netflix or do whatever I want to do. If I want to do laundry, so be it. It doesn't matter. I just wanna take time to me, right? Or people say, "Hey, I wanna go hike." I think I wanna go do this one myself and just sit up on a mountaintop or at a lake and give thanks. Whatever, right? It's
yeah.
whatever is feeding you, but that awareness is really such the major key to tune into, and we're just both of us, it's just so funny how we're so keenly aware regardless of how we react. And you're a COMTGG, a little bit different. I'm the AA, so my neurotransmitters are more active. I feel it quickly. Like I could feel this morning. So my reaction with you, it's you're the slower simmer, right? You
Right, like,
simmer, and then it's like
I'll say yes to a bunch of things, and then lately I'll be like, "Why? Why'd I say yes to all those things?" And then I have a big explosive, "Hell
the
no,"
pot
to everything.
blows off the pot.
We're working on it. We're not doing it that way. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us today. Please share this podcast with anyone you think could benefit. Share it with your friend, with your utility friends, your pleasure friends, and your purpose friends. And allow
Everybody.
this to just help you feel closer to aligned people and more intentional with the type of friendships you create.
Yep. Get out there, make it a great day, be your most authentic selves, and let them shine. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast.
If you enjoyed this week's episode, we'd love for you to share it, leave a review or comment, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Help us get this information out to everyone who could benefit, and we'll keep bringing you the content you crave.
You can also check out our podcast site at everydayepigenetics.co and sign up for our newsletter to stay updated on upcoming episodes. The link is in the show notes.
If you're interested in DNA or epigenetic coaching with Susan, or Radiant Life Coaching for deep inner work with Kate, our contact info is in the show notes below.
Now go and make it a great day and let your most authentic self shine.